Hello, my dear health seeker. Inga from Health Origins here, and welcome to Cook Along for Weight Loss show. And I'm really sorry I had technical difficulties this Sunday when recording this episode, so I'll have to voice over for you. So the recipe today is a 15-minute rice stir fry. So the way to start is to put the rice noodles, and you can either have these ones a little bit thicker like I've got here, or you could have the rice noodle vermicelli, which is like a hair thin, well, not hair thin, but you know, like a thinner version of a rice noodle. But I like these for, you know, for the thickness. It's kind of nice noodle shape, and they are white rice, but in vermicelli form I've found them also brown rice. So all you need to do is put them in some kind of container and pour boiling water on them. And a little tip as well, because it only takes about 5 minutes or 3 even minutes, and you cover it with a plate or a lid if you put it in the pot. So, and while that is steeping, if you like, we're gonna be preparing our stir fry. So I've got about a half of a small cabbage, and you probably a bit too much. Maybe you need about a couple of cups, I would say. So a quarter of cabbage would do. And then I've also, what I've done, I've peeled the carrots, couple of carrots, into these long ribbons with the peeler, as you can see here, and you just go around until you can no longer hold it. It becomes too small, and then you can use it for, you know, something else, or eat it, or just chop it up for different dishes. But it's really nice to have this kind of texture of that carrot, because you could grate it as well, but I really like that ribbon kind of texture to the stir fry, and it's fairly easy to do. So that's the carrot, and then I've got a red pointed pepper and my mandoline. So this is a Brone German make mandoline, and I really recommend it. It's a really good and reliable mandoline that I've been using for years, and I'll put the exact one I got in the description below for you, so you can have a look with the link and get it for yourself if you want as well. However, a word of warning: when I first got it, when I was cutting things, I was cutting my finger all the time, even though there is like a protection that goes with it, that you know, put on a vegetable when it gets like towards the end of it, but I still managed to cut myself. It would slip and I would just cut myself. I was cutting myself every single week with it, until I had to buy some gloves. You can get some kitchen gloves for that purpose that actually prevents, and I probably used the gloves once or twice, but I think by that point I already knew how to do it. So so it is very sharp. I haven't had to sharpen it or anything, and I've been having it for probably over 2 years. In fact, probably about 3 years now. So it's served me really well. So I do recommend it. So like I say, I'll put a link of that below. So the main thing is, when you have a big vegetable, and a soft vegetable is fairly easy. You can go pretty fast. But when the vegetable is getting to the very end, then that's when you kind of want to slow down and be a little bit more careful. And also, if the vegetable is very hard, it can slip, and you can injure yourself that way. So with hard vegetables, use the protection given, or just be very slow and careful with it. So we're gonna be mandolining this pepper. So far we've got the cabbage shredded. The finer the shred, the better. I've got the carrot peeled into ribbons. Then I've got the pepper, obviously, that we've just done. Then this is celery, so I've got a couple of sticks of celery. Celery is really easy to do on this mandolin, and you get like really nice, even, kind of thin slices. That's why I like mandolining my celery. You know, it's easy enough to cut it with a knife as well. So if you don't have a mandolin, you can do the same thing by slicing the pepper and the celery and also the onion, you know, into kind of half moons or a full. Well, I think I did the onion. I did in half moons really. So yeah, the mandolin is really helpful there, and you could potentially, once you're good at it, you could potentially just do it straight into your pan. But I do like preparing the ingredients before stir frying, because the thing about stir frying, it's a very quick process, and you know you're on a high heat, so you don't want to be wasting time and trying to cut up other bits and pieces while the ingredients you put in the pan getting burnt at the bottom. So that's why, you know, for stir fries, you kind of really want everything ready in there, ready to put into your wok. So we've got the cabbage, the carrot, the pepper, and the celery that I've just done, and then I'm gonna finish off these bits of pepper, because, you know, I hate waste. I never waste things, so there was still quite a bit of red pepper left, so I'm just gonna chop that up with a knife separately and add to it. And already, like I mentioned, I have the onion, one onion cut up thin, and then we've got ingredients, and then I'm just showing that we've got some sweet chili sauce, we've got some soy sauce and some apple cider vinegar, and also maybe about 2 centimeters of ginger, peeled ginger, fresh ginger. So I'm using Induction hob here, and it's pretty good. I've used it 2 or 3 times now, and it heats up really fast. So if you're interested, I'll put a link for that for you, because I've done a little bit of research, looked into them, and this seems to be like the sturdiest, and also very good value for money. I think it was about 33 pounds, that one. And then the wok I've got is Cook Pro, or ProCook, sorry, even. I'll link to that also in the description below, so if you wanted, because the good thing about this wok, it's a non-stick surface on the inside. So because most woks actually you do cook with oil, because they don't have a non-stick layer, but for us, because we are cooking without oil, that wok is really the best thing, because, you know, it just helps for the ingredients not to stick to it, because it's really high heat. So you know, if you didn't have a non-stick layer on the wok, it would be a nightmare. Everything would just stick. So I'll link to this pan in the description below as well, that you can have a look. ProCook is a really good range of, you know, different utensils. I've got a knife from them and this wok from them, so they have quite good quality products, but for very affordable prices. And I've got a chopping board as well, it's rubberized a little bit, or silicone rubberized chopping board that's kind of really been serving really well, so I can link to that one for you guys below as well. So our wok has heated up, as you can see. So I'm adding the celery, the pepper, and the onions to start with, and the carrot ribbons as well, because they're quite large. So everything except the cabbage I'm adding on now. And I forgot the spatula, so that's what I'm going for. So basically the trick with the wok is that you want high temperature enough. There is like a stir fry actual preset, what do you call it, menu or preset cooking mode on this induction hob, and as you can see it's pretty hot, so there was a lot of steam coming out from it. Yeah, so but that's kind of what you want for stir fries. You normally have quite a big ring, you know, if you're cooking with the gas, for example, you have a big ring and it heats up really fast, and that's kind of the beauty of stir fries, that it's ready very quickly. And then that's where I realized, guys, that my audio has not been recording, and I'm panicking a little bit. So here I brought in some water, because as you can see it's steaming pretty rapidly and my stir fry was getting, you know, really dry. So I added a little bit of water here to kind of keep on cooking. So they're just adding the cabbage. I'm gonna reduce the stir fry a little bit, and I'm gonna put a lid on so that it actually steams sweats the cabbage a little bit for it to release the juices, and I forgot the actual lid. So there you go. So my wok has a lid. That's why it's also very useful. I like it for that reason, because some woks, like traditional woks, they don't have a lid, but this one from ProCook, it does. So I was just checking on the rice noodles, and the tip that I was going to give you in the beginning is that if you you know, haven't prepared your veggies and it'll take you a little while to fry everything up, longer than say 5 minutes, I would suggest doing the noodles at the very end. So, you know, just nearly before the stir fry is ready, that's when you want to pour the boiling water on your noodles, because then all you got to do is you just add them to your pan, or even, you know, if you're not mixing them together, add them to your plate, and then put the stir fry topping at you know, on the top, without having to heat noodles through, because I've taken them out here, but I think they got a little bit cold, well, not cold, but like cooled down by the time I finished stir frying this. So I had to kind of you know, put them in and heat it through. So now I'm going to be adding my I forgot the ginger, by the way. I would suggest adding ginger at the point where you probably either before adding the cabbage, or just, you know, midway of frying your first ingredients. Depends, you know, how fresh you want to taste your ginger. If you want it to kind of melt together a bit more into the dish, then put it maybe at the start or near the start, with the onions, with the red pepper and the celery. Or if you want to feel more of the ginger, fresh ginger, then add it just kind of around now, you know, when the cabbage has softened, or just before adding cabbage. And then you can taste it a little bit more. And then I've just squeezed the juice. Sometimes you get a little bit of older ginger where it's like very stringy, so you might not want to put the strings in, but you just can squeeze the liquid out into your dish. So, and I've added a couple of tablespoons of water, as you can see, because it's still a little bit dry. and I'm mixing it in with the ginger. And I'm going to be adding all the ingredients, so I'll put all the quantities in the recipe below, but it's a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar I'm adding. If you are using say olive brine or gherkin brine instead of water in the previous step, perhaps you don't need to add the apple cider vinegar then, or a bit less. And then I'm adding 2 tablespoons of soy sauce here, and I've just realized that I haven't taken the internal plastic off of it, so we're just using my teeth, the good old method. Yeah, so I'm just gonna add 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and then you know, you can taste your stir fry mixture and see if you need a little bit more saltiness. Perhaps you can add another tablespoon of soy sauce, depends how you like it. And then I'll put 2 tablespoons of sweet chili sauce here, because that's pretty much all I had in that, so that was great. As well, if you like it a little bit spicier, you can add, you know, a bit more sweet chili sauce. But you know, that was just right for us. So these are like the sauces, the kind of tasty ingredients, adding to all the stir fry and mixing it through. And then we'll let that cook for a little bit longer. So yeah, pretty much this is now ready, and I'm gonna be adding the noodles. And like I say, you could skip this step if you prepared your noodles just before the very end, so then you would have them really hot still. But because I had them out for a little bit, I'm gonna just mix them through and heat them through for a couple of minutes. So I'm gonna just put the lid on and heat them through for a couple more minutes. So that's been heating up for a little bit, and all I need to do now is to do a little bit of taste testing, and I need a fork as well. You can tell that was live because I've forgotten about 3 or 4 things here. And that's the beauty about recording a video. You can stop, you know, press pause, and then go and get something and keep on recording. Whereas obviously, if you're doing it live, if you haven't brought it, haven't thought about it, then you have to go and get it in the middle of it. And here, you know what I'm saying. Food is fuel, so be mindful of what you put in your body. That is my channel motto, and I truly believe in that. So there we go. So I'm going to be doing a little taste tester for you here. And it was yummy, but I thought I would put a little bit more sweet chili or onion relish. I love onion relish, and I put it on a lot of my savory dishes, especially, you know, salads and sauces. So you know, I would have added a little bit more for a little bit more kind of sauciness on my noodles. So thanks a lot, guys, for joining me, and subscribe for more videos like this on Sundays or Wednesdays, normal videos, and see you next time.